Hey everyone, nice to see you. You got a minute to hang out? Check it out. I found this tote, right? On the side of the road. No, I'm just kidding. It's a tote that I've had around for a while. But, we're gonna go through it. I don't know, I kind of know what's in there, but, you know, unlike other toy talks where I kind of know what I'm gonna say, this is gonna be completely spontaneous. So it'll be kind of fun in that regard. Yeah, do you think we should get started? Let's do it. Alright. Throw the top off there. Let's see what we have. So, when I first got into Batman and I started buying all of those comics from the flea markets, the stuff that I had access to was the Night Quest, Nightfall, Night's End saga. That is more or less the introduction of Bane, the breaking of Batman's back, Jean-Paul taking over the mantle, going crazy, Bruce Wayne being rehabilitated, and eventually, you know, facing off with Jean-Paul. I had this figure as a kid. We're gonna come across it somewhere in there. And so I was at a Comic-Con or some sort of convention at some point, and I came across this guy for a super reasonable price and couldn't pass up, you know, that little bit of nostalgia. These Legends figures are quite cool, although, like, if I'm gonna review it and critique it a little bit, their hands all hold stuff weird. All of their rocket launchers have weird handles on them. You can see the angle of it. Therefore, the way the hand is shaped is very strange. But I really like this figure. It shows the evolution of Jean-Paul's suit. Jean-Paul was originally Azrael. And yeah, throughout the Night Quest and Nightfall saga, his armor continually develops. And this is like the last look we kind of see him in. So, comes with an original card, as you guys saw in the front. Cool backing.
Jean-Paul Van Damme?
Jean-Paul Van Damme. Yeah, Jean-Paul... I don't remember Jean-Paul's.
Who is this?
Oh, so Jean-Paul was Azrael. Azrael was a knight of some sort of cult. He was basically like programmed to be their avenging angel. When Batman and Azrael first met, they were at odds, but the Bat family helped rehabilitate him, and he became part of the Bat family. When Bruce, Batman, had his back broken, Jean-Paul became Batman to show that there was still a Batman in the city and to keep people from like freaking out. So Bruce didn't go to Dick, the original Robin, because he felt like Dick already had his own life in Bloodhaven. So he went to Jean-Paul. Jean-Paul, because of his programming, as he got this bat power, essentially, kind of started losing it. Was all, I'm Batman, get out of here, Robin, I'm the man, I do shit my way, and I'm more aggressive and brutal. He makes these razor claws that he takes Bane on with for the first time. Bane retreats, and then the next showdown, he's like in full-fledged, like, crazy armor. And that was the, basically, Nightfall saga in a nutshell. And then Night Quest is just Jean-Paul running around in this sweet armor, kind of being crazy, being tormented by visions. Bruce is in a wheelchair looking to be rehabilitated, and Tim, the third Robin, the current Robin at that time who was alive, and Dick start getting together and blah blah blah. And then Night's End, like I said before, was just Bruce, having been rehabilitated, having to take on Jean-Paul for the city of Gotham. So,
Wow.
Did you guys hold on for that whole thing?
Okay.
Aren't you glad you asked, Lobster?
Yeah. So so that's not Bruce Wayne.
That is not Bruce Wayne.
Are there a lot of other Jean-Paul figures?
I do not believe there are a lot of other Jean-Paul figures. We are going to find another Jean-Paul in here, in his original armor. And a lot of times when you see Jean-Paul figures, they just try to make it into Bruce Wayne wearing some sort of other type of armor, and it's not acknowledged as being Jean Paul. So.
Okay.
Alright, so I've been a big Joker fan like my whole life. You know, as a kid, I remember reading the old, like, pulp novel collections of the 1960s, like 50s and 60s Batman comics. And yeah, that's a big part of when I got into the Joker. I also grew up on the 89 movie. You know, I grew up on the 1990s cartoon to a certain degree. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was my first love, but around... Actually, it was 5th grade. That's when I was reading the pulp comic. And so that summer, I started going to flea markets and grab anything kind of Joker-related that I could. So I thought these cars were cool. They present well in package. I actually have that Joker image as a button as well. There's a lot of cool decals on the car. There's different ones, these vintage-style vehicles. This one's way more updated, obviously. It has a shape that's inspired by the Joker. You know, there are some other ones in this series, except they don't actually show you what the vehicles look like. Spawn! Have you been with us since episode 1? Spawn fan here. I was, again, probably about 5th grade, maybe younger, like 4th grade, 98, when the movie came out. And before the movie came out, or after I saw the trailer, I rented the HBO animated series at the local convenience store. Let me tell you folks, if you've never watched that, it's incredibly inappropriate for a 4th grader. But I'm really glad that I got to experience it at that young age, because it probably helped develop my tastes for those darker stories and whatnot. Yeah, my buddy Bomer got this for me. I had a few Spawn action figures kicking around, but I didn't actually have a Spawn. And so he hooked me up with this. I love these old school Todd's toys. That's right. Before McFarlane's toys, it was Todd's toys. I love these old school, like, plastic packaging. Like, you know, durable. You don't have to worry about the card backings getting warped or the glue separating from the backing. So that was really cool. And rather than have a card back, per se, this is actually a comic book. So very cool. The cape has bending, like, capabilities, so you can, you know, encompass Spawn in his cape. Very cool toy. I really like these early figures, and they still had playability. Eventually, McFarlane toys would totally lose playability, and they would become so fragile that they would just break if you played with them, which is not cool, in my opinion. You know, if it's a toy you can get at any sort of Walmart or department store in the action figure aisle, it should be playable. Like, a kid should be able to buy a toy and take it home and open it and play with it. So, those are my thoughts on that. Alright, and next up, oh, Clown. So, if, again, you were with us from, like, the first episode, we do an unboxing of the old, like, 1995 booster box of Spawn cards. And so we talk about the animated the animated series and the live action movie. And I have nothing really but, like, negative reviews for the live action movie, except for the fact that John Leguizamo as Clown is just, like, so good. You can't, as a character that's really hard to do in live action, I would think, and it would probably be difficult to see anybody else doing that role. It's, you know, big shoes to fill, you know what I mean? So this figure is based on Greg Capullo's art. Greg Capullo worked on Spawn for years. It was like him and McFarlane for years and years and years. And this was a really cool series. I don't remember if it had a name or a volume, but it was all the figures in it were based on the artwork of Greg Capullo. And this is a very cool figure. Greg would later take on Batman in the early New 52 run. Those are the two big things that come to my mind. So yeah, very cool clown figure. And even though like I wouldn't call him playable, I can pose him and I don't have to worry about breaking him, which is nice, right? However, as awesome as this overkill figure is, these chains, like as soon as I opened them, they broke. And that goes back to me talking about like, you know, I was a kid when I got these, and you think that you're going to be able to like open it up and play with it, and then all of a sudden it's falling apart on you. So when I do set him up, I like, you know, have to wrap the chains up so that they're not all going all over the place. He comes with a parking meter. You can't use the parking meter to any degree. His hands have no, you know, like no posability. They're just wide open. The wrists don't move or anything. Still a very awesome figure. I love it. I had it displayed for years. I know there's a gun that comes, yeah, like, okay, so he's got a gun that opens here, but who cares? You can't even play with him. Like, what is the point? You can't even see it. It's like so minute, you know? How about giving him an accessory he can use? Now this isn't, I try not to be too negative, because I don't think it's productive. At the same time, I am going to give you my opinion on this. Awesome figure, awesome sculpt, but, you know, it falls a little shy in some areas. I think this is the last of the Spawn figures we're going to find in here. Just an old medieval Spawn. Medieval Spawn is one of my just all-time favorite characters. You know, you can see he's an old beater. He's got that wacky, loose action. Definitely got some play back in the day. I acquired him through some sort of trade with my cousin. I don't remember the trade exactly, but sweet figure. I definitely used this as like a drawing reference as a kid. I love the open hand because you can, you know, claw or grab people by the head and slam them. You know, I've never had any of his accessories, but very cool sculpt. And again, playable. You can play with him. He can hold his weapon. See if I don't want to like spill these all out, but let's see if I can't tip it on its side. Thanks, Lob. Oh man, check this out. Beautiful. What are we getting? It's all good. Check this out. This is a cool tin. An old Spider-Man, The Secret of Spider-Man. Here's more proof, as if you need it, that when the gang in the Marvel bullpen get together to bring you an annual, they sure don't spare the heroes. Featuring inside facts about Spidey's powers, his problems, and his personal life, as only Stan and Steve can provide. The Amazing Spider-Man. I don't think I've ever read that before. I've never read this before. In all the years I've had this tin, I've never read it. I really do think it's cool though. I used to have cool broken glass in it, different blown glass shards from different blown glass sculptures that had broken over the years. So, yeah, that's what I used to have in it. I really like this side, the Doc Ock side. That's way cool. I got a Sabretooth here. Look at this ridiculous guy. So Zachary, he plays Banana Man in the Slim Duffy Show. He gave me like a pile of his old figures. They're just gonna get beat up at my mom's, so, you know, I thought that you could have them. I was like, sweet dude. Oh, cool, look at that. Nice. Toy Biz used to do all the 90's figures. I guess these come off. How do you get them off? Oh, he's missing a thumb. Oh, so going back to Zach, he gave me that Usagi figure we saw way back in episode 1. That's all beat up. Zach has infamously said, I played with my toys growing up. So, Sabretooth is missing thumbs. He's in pretty good shape though. He's not too loose. His legs are a little loose. His shoulders are a little loose this way, but they're still pretty tight across there. And yeah, just, you know, fun stuff. Action figures, I love them. You probably love them too, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this. We've been trying to figure out who this character is. Doesn't have a head. But can you see that, Lob? Can you see the action happening? He does this, but we have no idea what he is. He's another Marvel figure. He's got a great build. Like, he's clunky and heavy, and even though he doesn't have any articulation, or like you can't put anything in his hands, he's still just kind of cool. Like, I really love the feeling of him. I've done very little custom toy work in my day, and this is one that I've been kind of keeping in mind, trying to figure out what to do. You might see a custom figure from Mike Urchin in the future. Oh, Apocalypse. This is a cool figure. Look at this sweet-ass Apocalypse. He's Mondo. Oh, and I think he does something crazy. Is his chest open or something? Okay. Alright, so he, at some point, fired missiles out of his chest, which is insane. This is like a pretty crazy figure for 90... what? 97. Oh, this is a later figure. So that's why he's a little more like beefed up. The early Toy Biz figures are kind of janky. You could see all of their metal hinges. I don't know if I have any Toy Biz figures in here. Old Toy Biz figures. Maybe I will. He's loose. This toy got some play. Let's mix it up. We got a big box here. What do we got? The Dark Knight, the Joker, is the newest addition to DC's direct line of realistically proportioned, superheroic 1/6 scale figures, fully posable, with 28 points of articulation. This deluxe collector figure features the Joker in his intricate and authentically detailed fabric costume, consisting of a shirt, tie, vest, blazer, pants, overcoat, as well as a pair of loafers. His accessories include 3 individual knives, a handgun with a removable clip, a bank robbery mask, and 3 sets of hands. A display stand is also included. This is it! This is a figure of the ages! Did you see me spit? I definitely did. Alright, so evidently we're going to be doing an unboxing because it seems to be unboxing itself. We're not going to do that right this moment. Pez. Who doesn't like Pez? You know, these are great. This is a cool collector set. I used to get a little wacky over Pez. I had so many. I probably still do in one of my other totes. But yeah, it's just something that I gave up on because I was getting a little silly. This is a cool set. You know, I still obviously have it. The Batman has a little bat logo on his chest, which is not common. It's like the special thing in this. It also comes with a package of chocolate Pez. I've never had chocolate Pez before. I've never seen them, but it comes with 2 chocolate Pez, 2 raspberry Pez, and 2 strawberry Pez. And obviously we got Two-Face, Riddler, Joker, and Batman. This is, you know, a newer one. It's not like terribly old. Oh! It's a 95! I guess it's older than I thought. You know, I like the old ones where they have like the separate pieces where they were constructed. Like the flesh colored is its own piece and the blue is its own piece. With the newer ones, and including in this, you can see on this Batman that it's a painted face versus having separate pieces. A couple of the newer style, you know, they become busts rather than the heads. I'm not as into the busts. These guys are from 10 and 12. Oh wait. So there you have that. Some Pez business. I love this. The comic book Champions collection. The packaging has gotten pretty effed up. It comes with a certificate of authenticity, and it has been opened before, so we're gonna open it now and take a better look at it. Again, I was like super into the Joker as a kid, so like anything Joker related that I could get my hands on. And this is actually really cool. Probably just waiting for an opportunity to be busted back out. I think it might be a little bit sun faded. I can't really tell. But yeah, it's a pewter Joker with the laughing fish comic cover. The back says Detective Comics number 475, publication date February 1978. The Dark Knight's greatest foe made a stylish comeback after being seen infrequently through the early 1970s. In this story, the Joker created a chemical that gave fish a leer like his own, then attempted to collect royalties on the fish. This tale also inspired an episode of Batman, the animated series. Batman the Joker, created by Bob Kane, cover art by Marshall Rogers and Terry Austin. If they hadn't said that it inspired an episode of the animated series, I was going to acknowledge that.
What do they mean by leer?
Oh,
created a leer?
His leer. His smile. His Joker smile. Another Joker action figure. This guy was from the series called Legends of the Dark Knight. I remember seeing this as a kid at Rennie's, which is a local store here in Maine. It's called Rennie's. A Maine Adventure is their tagline. And so I saw this as a kid, and I went back for it, and gone. And I always loved this figure. That face, that huge, hulking mass is just insane, and the colors, you know, are nuts. This is from 97, but alright. Are you guys ready for it? Alright.
Bruh.
How do you like that? We got the little Joker with his little gas bomb, and just ill, you know, just an ill figure. The fact that the body was built in a way where the arms still have complete posability is so awesome. Really just top-notch figure in my opinion. Granted, if I had it as a kid, I could easily see it becoming broken over time, but I didn't have it as a kid, so it's a non-issue. Yep, and then you just sort of put the shell back over him. You click it, and then he's got the little clicking mechanism. Hold up. You gotta lock him, gotta lock him in. Boom. Locked. Back to a hulking mask. Mask? I got the mask on the mic.
Dude.
So, Lobster and I were just talking about how this guy looks like Adrian from The Mask. What do you guys think? Do you know what we're talking about? Go watch The Mask with Jim Carrey. Do you guys follow any custom artists online? Because that's, you know, Lobster and I have been talking about the different custom figures and the things different people do, and there's a lot of creativity out there, you know, kit bashing. You ever heard that term? Basically means taking an existing figure and then just bastardizing it. So, like, you can, a lot of kit bashing and whatnot. There's some artists I follow who they'll either re-sculpt certain parts or they'll build to the sculpt or take away from. But yeah, that's kind of what we're talking about, is just customizing stuff. Alright, this is a little more time consuming than I thought. I got quite a few figures in here. So, we're going to try to pick up the pace a little bit. Oh, this Cyclops figure is way cool. I don't know if I have all of its accessories. There were these mutation line where he had like a head, like a purple mutant head with like an eyeball and like monster arms and stuff. So it was the classic X-Men figures, but like, you know, like transformed into monsters based on whatever their abilities were. So he was like a weird Cyclops. I think y'all might remember these guys from our first episode of Toy Talk from the 1990s animated show. And I had these as a kid, and I love them. I just like how they're small and basic. I really like smaller, more basic figures a lot of the time. So those are pretty cool. Looks like I got a Liquid Terminator. I think Zachary also gave this to me. It's just, which is weird, because he's outside of the scale of all the Terminator 2 figures that I had growing up. Arnold Schwarzenegger from Last Action Hero. Big Arnold Schwarzenegger fan. Terminator 2 is still one of my top two favorite movies of all time. That right alongside of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie. I think they stand equally next to one another. Oh, he's quite loose though. He got some play, and he's like the harder plastic, and those harder plastics would loosen a lot easier than the more rubbery plastics. The rubbery stuff actually held a little bit of posability for longer. This Arnie figure is from the movie Last Action Hero. Last Action Hero was a family adventure flick, kind of parodying the classic action movie where this kid ends up inside of an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, but instead of dealing with Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's dealing with Jack Slater, the character, in this sort of alternate universe. It's a really, really fun 1990s action movie. It's totally cheesy. There's a cameo from Jean-Claude Van Damme, and just a really cool flick. It's kind of fun little... Company's called Titans, vinyl figures. This is AVP 2015. I think this came in like a loot crate or something that a buddy of mine had, so he gave me the little figure. I actually think it's pretty cool. It's a little outside of my like norm in terms of what I like to collect, but I think the head's kind of cool enough to sort of carry the figure as a Predator fan. Alright, I think these are the only figures I have left that are McFarlane toys. This is when I kind of discovered that they suck. So like, this is Paul Stanley of Kiss. Huge Kiss fan as a kid. That part of me still loves Kiss. The fact that they're not actually a band and they're just like a machine to make money. There's a lot of problems I have with Kiss, but if I just go inside and I go back to that place of third grade and I think about the fact that they're comic book and superheroes, and you know, there's cool songs like God of Thunder and, you know, rock and roll all night, party every day, that part of me still does love Kiss. This is Paul Stanley. It's all loose and stuff. His hair's gone. His clown figure that he came with, because this is Psycho Circus. So Psycho Circus in 1998, that was like the big comeback with the original band. I had the Paul Stanley figure and the Ace Frehley figure because I couldn't get Gene Simmons. This guy came with a clown. Ace came with the Stilt Walker. You know, Ace broke apart because it was crappy plastic that breaks. Clown fell apart because it's crappy plastic that breaks. These figures were based on the Image comic book series, which was pretty cool. It was like basically a traveling carnival, and somehow these guys were like weird spooky spirits, and I don't really remember anything about it because it's been so long. But yeah, just another example of how cool the sculpts were and whatnot, but how crappy the plastic could be. Lack of playability. I have no idea who this figure is. Some sort of Toy Biz Marvel figure. It's got some armor. Again, something I've been thinking about, you know, bastardizing, chopping up, and customizing because it's fun. I like to do art-related projects. I've done one custom figure before, and it was a lot of fun. I think this might have been a figure from Zachary, too. It's kind of grubby. I feel it's a little sticky. I think he needs to be washed. My cousin had this figure when we were kids, and I loved him. One of my favorite figures, Iceman. You know, not necessarily a big Iceman fan in general as far as X-Men go, but he also has these giant hands that would clip on. So a giant ice fist and then like a giant open hand that were really cool. 95, I'm pretty sure. Each figure, he's got a hand accessory somewhere that's like a blade. And I think he's got, yeah, there, some sort of like punching action. You know, pretty straightforward figure, but I like it. And this is one of the examples of the metal screws in the joints. But, you know, even though it's kind of not really the coolest, it's cool that these different companies sort of have very specific things that you can point out about them. Like, oh yeah, you remember the old Toy Biz figures, how they had those metal joints? I don't know who this figure is. Super cool.
Dude.
Yeah, right? He's cool.
I used to have that.
What is it? Who is he? What's he from? G.I. Joe. You know, obviously, originally, they were, I think, like 12-inch posable figures. Eventually, the G.I. Joe brand died. It was just, like, not around for a while. When they brought it back in the 80s, I think, they were trying to figure out how to make it, like, you know, how to, like, breathe new life into it, and that's when we got the little tiny G.I. Joes, the 3-inchers with all the the rubber band in the middle, which kind of was a bummer because it would snap, and the articulation, because they knew that they wanted to harken back to the original Joes. What sold the original Joes? It was the posability and the action that you could do. So they were like, let's compete with Star Wars and do them in the 3-inch size, but let's give them that Joe posability. Then in the 90s, there might have been like a cartoon series or something, and they released a line that were just like straight action figures, just classic action figures. I have another figure. It might not be in this box because I have a small box of sort of drawing references, but he's just like a blonde dude with long hair, leather vest, ripped up jeans, came with like a rocket launcher, says G.I. Joe across his back. 90s action figures, and 80s too to a certain degree, but I feel like the 90s really stepped it up. And then all of a sudden, the quality just like, you don't have the sculpts on stuff like you used to. And then even with the companies that do these like really fancy figures and fancy sculpts, sometimes the quality ends up lacking in the in how they hold up, like how I critiqued McFarlane earlier. Nightcrawler figure. This guy had like a power glow sword. I think the sword's still around here in the accessory bag. No tail. This came with a beast, I think. I never had the beast figure. Again, these were just like secondhand stuff. I remember the character. I don't remember his name. He's another Marvel figure. I love these giant clunky feet. I love how like the just cool cyborg quality, and how all those characters had the ridiculous ponytail back in the day. Doc Samson had a ridiculous ponytail. There are lots of ridiculous ponytails back in the day that are just kind of fun. Oh! Bag of Punisher figures. We'll come back to that one. 3-inch Marvel figures. We'll come back to those. Hey, Lobster, does this look familiar?
No.
You gave him to me. You found him at a yard sale.
No.
Yeah. He is on top of my closet for a long time. Old Christian Bale. I think this is a Batman. No, it might be. It's a Dark Knight figure. You can tell by the neck. Batman Begins had like zero neck. Is all stiff. 05? No, this is a Batman Begins figure. Because 05, I was still in school. The Dark Knight would come out after I was graduated. So yeah, I think he had accessories, but like I said, yeah, he's got like something that clipped to his back and whatnot, but yard sale finds, so. And these types of figures are good for just general posing. If you've got like a good spot, like, to kind of like put at the back to put the smaller stuff in front of, I do like these bigger figures for those reasons. It's well made. It's not loose. Like, you can feel that they make extra point to make all of these joints like very tight. Like, I don't know if you can tell the actual like what I have to do, like the amount of force I have to use to, yeah, look at that. So yeah, well done. Just says TM DC Comics China H1386. I'm not sure who was doing. I don't even know who's doing DC figures now, honestly. It used to be Kenner back in the day with the original original DC figures for like the Batman movies and the animated movies, and even like later on they'd have the Justice League lines from the comic books and stuff. But hold the phone. Are you guys ready? Michael Keaton. Heck yes. This was my cousin's. This is 92, which means it was the Batman Returns era. But yeah, I love the Keaton figure. He was on my my closet for a long time. He doesn't have any leg movability, just the arm movability. As a kid, I never liked big figures. I hated them. They're stupid. You can't play with them. You can't, like, you have to use your whole everything just to get an arm moved. Totally messes up playability. But as an adult, getting these big classic figures, again, to display, kind of put as the backdrop I love. You know, I really do love this figure. This was my cousin's as well. I think I just said that, but just in case I didn't, I want to make sure that everybody knows that this was my cousin's, and now it's mine.
He's gonna want that back someday.
So, do you guys follow the DC movies? DC was always my comic company growing up, way more than Marvel. Not say anything bad about Marvel, I just still like DC more. I think they're more grounded in reality, as ridiculous as that might sound. You know, I'm not really necessarily a big fan of these movies in terms of my fanboy. I learned to cage my fanboy up when I go into any one of these movies because he will not allow me to enjoy it at all. And so I just try to watch it as like a Hollywood film that's designed to be entertaining but is not designed to cater to the needs of us fans who have been, you know, reading the comics for decades. But word on the street is with the new Flash movie, Flashpoint, we're getting a Michael Keaton coming back, reprising the role of Batman. Have you heard any of this? It doesn't look like you've heard this.
No.
So, the Flashpoint storyline is Barry Allen essentially tries to change history. He runs back in time, basically, or something of that degree, saves his mother, but because of the time travel thing, creates a completely different reality. In the comic books and in the animated movie that DC did, it creates the death of Bruce Wayne and Thomas Wayne to take over as a very dark version of Batman. Evidently, with this new Flashpoint that they're kind of designing to, I guess, it seems like they're trying to reset the DC universe to a certain degree. They've brought Michael Keaton on board. I'm very interested to see how that plays out. So, this is maybe a relevant time to be going through this box and opening up discussion. This is also a cool Joker figure. The elastic on his hand snapped, evidently. There's an elastic to keep the Joker card in his hand. Comes with this cool little Joker card. This was a Toys R Us exclusive. You guys remember Toys R Us? I should hope so.
That's sad.
I know, isn't that sad that there's no Toys R Us? So I follow some different, you know, nostalgia groups, companies, whatever you want to call them. And every so often we get, like, old Toys R Us, you know, catalogs being posted or old commercials and whatnot. So hopefully this card stays in the Joker's hand now that there's no elastic. He really doesn't have, it's not really to be played with. It was either to be left in the box or just displayed as is. I took it out of the box because I wanted to be able to like really display it. The articulation is just straight up and down, you know, very basic, but I really liked the sculpt on the face, which is why I bought it. Just a very basic figure. Nothing really special to acknowledge. Comes with a base. Is this his base? I guess. This is kind of a big base.
That kind of makes the figure.
He's off-centered, but whatever.
Yeah, that's sweet. The base makes the figure.
Yeah, you're into it?
Gives it that atmosphere.
See,
you know, he needs a little bit of space. Back the up. He's a little crazy.
I'm a little bit crazy. I need a lot of space on my base. Alright. You guys remember when I was talking about Jean-Paul earlier? You remember that, Lobster?
Yep.
Remember how you asked about him?
Jean-Paul Van Damme.
Yep. So, Azrael. This is, I think it was a Legends of the Dark Knight figure. They're a little bigger than the other ones. His leg broke, though. The leg, it does the action that creates the thing. And that's why most of the time I don't like... Bleep that. That's why I don't like darn extra little stupid things like that. Because then you just end up with a floppy figure. Granted, the sculpt's cool. It's a great figure, except for the fact that now it is rendered floppy and lame. Right? How would you feel?
I mean, once it broke like that, I wouldn't feel too good.
No, exactly. I didn't feel good about it. It still makes me feel bad. Anyways, enough about Jean. Remember, you know pop figures? Pop figures are like crazy popular. I have a couple of the original ones. They were given to me as gifts. I'm not actually even a big pop fan, but I do like these. I do like these little bobbling babies. What do you guys think of the pop figures? Please, comment. People love them. They go crazy over them. I don't think they're that cool usually. Although these new Ninja Turtle movie pop figures actually kind of look cool because they have a little more detail despite their round qualities. You probably hate the pop figures, huh?
100% can't stand them.
You are.
I don't own them. I don't even want to sell them. I have like a couple that I got for free.
Oof.
And I don't even want to sell them.
Well, now we know how Lobster feels. I am somewhere between here and there. I think the amount that they have is unnecessary. I think that people go crazy. I know what it's like to be a collector, so I get it. But I think it's just nuts. Crazy. Doesn't playing with toys make you feel like you're a little kid again? That's me. Speaking of being a little kid, when I was a kid, I had a cool Batman set. It came with a belt, a Batman belt. It came with this cool, the grapple gun. This is from probably like from '89. I was gonna say '89 from the first movie. So the grapple gun when he's got Vicky Vale and the thugs are around, and he goes up in the air with her or whatever. This is the grapple gun. This is the only piece I have left. It shot darts. Like, this is the grapple piece, obviously. And, of course, you gotta add the orange. That's super sun-faded because it got so much play back in the day. It's got the bottom's broken out of it. Man, and you could clip it to your belt. That was way cool. I still think it's cool. I got a Batmobile. I love 1960s Batman. First time I ever saw it on the regular channels, 2, 5, 7, 12. Usually one of those stations would do a Sunday matinee and they'd play like whatever movie. So I saw the Batman 1960s movie on there a bunch as a kid. And I'm a huge fan of Cesar Romero. To me, Caesar is the Joker. I just think he's the best. Those yellow eyes and the mustache and I don't know. Just got a lot of affection there. So a buddy of mine got me the 1960s Batmobile. Pretty cool. Another Joker car. Took it out of the box because it was cool and because you couldn't really see the Joker in the box and the top pops. And we've got a little Joker in there. I remember this specifically from a collection of Joker stories I had as a kid, which also had the Laughing Fish story in it. And it's Tales of the Joker, I think. And yeah, I remembered it. I thought it was cool. Another little Joker car. This came in a pack of like Hot Wheels. I think it's a Hot Wheel. Yeah. From like Family Dollar. It was a little exclusive. It had all of the like Dark Knight cars. This is the 1989, 92 Batmobile. The original like film Batmobile. Even though Batman 1960 is called the movie, it was still part of the television series. It was the film after that first year. Whereas with Batman 89, we have that 4-film series. So yeah, Michael Keaton Batmobile, which I like the most out of probably all of the on-screen Batmobiles that we've had. It's just, granted, it's a little ridiculous and it would be hard to do something like this in a film nowadays, especially after the Christian Bale, Christopher Nolan flicks. They sort of ground him a little more and take away those flashy comic book qualities. I have no idea who this is. I think he might have been one of Mojo's characters or whatever. I think it was Mojo, those weird cyber characters in X-Men. He's pretty cool. He had a back attachment, I guess, and I don't know. He's rad. Rad figure. His weird hair. Black suit Spider-Man. His legs are kind of weird. I mean, he does stand. He's just stands kind of in a funny position. Oh yeah, 2099 Spider-Man with the, the red skull kind of design. He used to have one of those capes. So back in the day, he used to have these cool fabric capes particularly for Batman, where they had a little clip that goes around the neck and then the cape was fabric. In his instance, because of his weird, he's got like a little weird web kind of cape thing, it clipped around his neck and around his hands. Wow! But eventually, the sewing on those things was so chintzy that they'd come undone, and the little plastic clip would come out, and they'd, be unusable eventually. Alongside Spider-Man 99, I think, like, the first 4 books were Punisher 2099, Ravage 2099, Doom 2099. They'd eventually do X-Men 2099, Hulk 2099, Ghost Rider 2099, but Spider-Man was the one that really maintained the most popularity. No idea who this character is. No clue. It's got some loose threads. Thing comes off. He's some sort of knight. He's some sort of Marvel figure. One of those acquired figures from Zachary. Archangel. He's got some wings around here. Big floppy rubber wings, but they don't really stay in his back. This had an actual Spider-Man with it. How about that? I guess he's gotten a little old over the years. Arms don't hold quite like they used to. There was a piece here, and it had just a regular red suit Spider-Man. After my regular Spider-Man broke, I would just use my 2099 figure in it, So, this is more or less how it would work. Red Spider-Man would fit a little better, and he also, there was like some controls on the crotch piece that he would hold. But definitely a lot of fun as a kid. And you can see it definitely got some play. Lobster gave this to me for like either a birthday or a Christmas, or I don't remember which, but I do love the Peter Parker reporter look. He lost a shoe. He's gimping around. You ever just walk around wearing one shoe? It's uncomfortable. You guys like Predator? Man, you remember the Kenner figures? This guy had tentacles at some point. He was like the chief, the Predator chieftain. And the tentacles would move around based on this little lever. This is one of the coolest figures because none of the other ones had the razors on the hand. But this guy had the claws, right? Sick figure. And those tusks. See those tusks? Awesome. Totally awesome. Way cool. And then the classic Predator from the first movie. I do have his mask around here somewhere. I don't know if he still has his gun or not. He had like a weird weapon you could attach to his back. Yeah, the Kenner Predator figures were cool. Kenner was boss back in the day, man. They did Predator, Star Wars, Batman, Predator, and Kenner. Kenner ruled, and Predator rules too. I'd occasionally get obsessed with the quarter machines at the grocery store, and so these were like in the quarter machines for a while. The head would come down at, like, this is the ball, right? So you'd put your little quarters in, and the little ball would come down. I got a couple of doubles, but I gave those away at some point. Got Mr. Freeze, Professor Zoom, the Anti-Flash, Darkseid, and our boy Two-Face. We're also getting the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League sometime soon. Darkseid's actually going to be in it, so Darkseid. And while we're on the subject of Two-Face, I got this little guy too. It's kind of weird. Like, he didn't really fit any of the standard models, but he came with a button. To me, that was the draw. It came with a button. In the animated series, we had a blue-face Two-Face. For a while, Family Dollar had these little exclusive, just basic figures, and I think they were like $5. And so when I was in high school, I would just buy some of these figures to complete my collection. Like, I didn't have an animated Two-Face. I didn't have a Penguin figure at all, so got a little animated Penguin figure. comes with a cane, or no, an umbrella, but he can't hold it. Can't do anything with it. But it is the Penguin. Hey, Lobster. Remember this guy?
Was that a McDonald's toy?
Was a McDonald's toy.
One of my favorite McDonald's toys as a kid.
Yeah, I think this was a birthday present you gave me at some point. It was one of my favorites too. My cousin had it. I never had it. And I always really liked it. And I would think about it regularly. Boy, I wish I had the McDonald's toy. Gee, I wish I had that McDonald's toy. And then one year, Kate got it for me. He didn't even know. I was quietly thinking to myself. So, yeah, very cool. Another Family Dollar, just basic Joker figure, you know. I like that he's holding the card. It's kind of cool, even though you can't do anything like action related. I also like the open mouth. Kind of cool. Got a Chris O'Donnell action figure. This is a Batman and Robin. Chris O'Donnell. It's funny. This sculpt was actually from the Batman Forever Robin figure, where you would attach the armor, and if you ran him under warm water, the mask would appear. So they just, another example of like a recycled sculpt, but not even a cool one, just a really basic one. They're like, let's just paint him different and give him some different accessories. So this was acquired in a trade, I'm quite certain, with my cousin. At some point we traded, I think, and now this was kind of whack. I kind of regret it now. I traded all my Dragon Ball Z figures for all of his Batman figures. I know. You should have seen the look on Lobster's face just now when I said that. These guys are like, some of those figures were really cool. Trunks was one of my favorite characters. He had the sword sheath thing. Another trade figure, totally beat. He used to be a metallic figure. The one thing I will say about the George Clooney Batman is that he is the worst Batman ever. He stinks.
Denied.
However, the George Clooney Batman figures are boss. They just, like, his face, just that chin, it works. They also ended up making these guys a little bigger. Like, if you compare them next to the Val Kilmer Batman, there's like a size difference. You know, it's not huge, but a little bit. This is a totally beat up Val Kilmer. He had a rubber cape, I think, that wrapped around him or something of that nature. I think. It's a Batman Forever figure. I love Val. I fell forever.
Val was the best Batman, right?
People might lynch me for this. I think that Val is my favorite Batman, and I don't know if it was just because I love Batman Forever. You know, Michael Keaton just kind of feels like Michael Keaton. Not to say anything bad about his performance, just sort of feels like Michael Keaton in a batsuit. That was like one of the biggest issues with George Clooney in the batsuit, except he just stinks, whereas like Michael was actually good. And you know, like the newer guys have done good. Like I think that, you know, Ben Affleck, he must get that all the time.
Ben Affleck.
He must get that all the time. Yeah, I think he was good. He definitely feels more like a Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns Batman, but yeah, I thought Ben was pretty good. These George Clooney figures, I just think they're really awesome. I really like them a lot. I don't know, I just do. This is the top of an old alarm clock that stopped working, so I like chopped it off, and now it's just a little rubber Batman who sits around. Our friend Brian broke it because he can't keep his hands to himself.
I'm sorry, dude. Where's your leg? I'm sorry, dude.
There's like, it projected the bat signal on the ceiling with the time, and it had like an adjuster piece on the back, and he was just messing with it and broke it.
Good job, Brian.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Thanks, Skusk.
Chusky Busky.
Look at this.
Sweet.
I got a Joker duck. Lights up.
I like that.
Yeah? You're into it? I bet the kids who go to all the raves would love it. You touch the metal and it comes alive. Joker duck. Here's a little Joker figure. I don't remember what series this was. Bane's leg came with another Azrael figure that I actually have out in the room and displayed. And then if you got all the figures in the series, you could build a giant Bane, which I would still love to do at some point. Michael Keaton Batman with not original cape. Some sort of plastic cape that was probably from the third movie. But the funny thing is, the original first movie toys still had the really old school look to them. Where, like, this doesn't even remotely look like Jack Nicholson. And yeah, they have the little metal hinges, like they were still doing that sort of deal. His flower squirts, it used to have like a thing. And then later they'd re-sculpt him to look a little more like Jack Nicholson. But at the same time, they still kind of like over-accentuate the chin and kind of just give it its own look. I mean, the Heath Ledger figure doesn't even remotely look like Heath, right? But I just kind of figured where I had all the other Jokers kind of in this size. Yeah.
It's just powder. It's powder.
It's
with
powder with
wig.
green hair, you're right. It's powder. Victor Salva's powder in a green wig. This was from a series called The Batman. It was like after no Batman like cartoon series for a while. They kind of revamped it and created The Batman. And they really reinvent all of the villains in it. I only ever collected the Joker figures when I'd come across them because, again, at the time, that was what I was collecting is Joker figures. And this is Arkham Straight Jacket Joker, which, as you might have noticed, has a very Tim Burton vibe to it. Very Beetlejuice. I kind of like his crazy hair. It gives it a gestury effect. The straight jacket, you know, the loose belts and whatnot. And then I got this figure from that same series, The Batman.
I'm gonna call that one Jacko.
I like the color on him. This was just like the same sculpt of the original Joker figure from that line, which I just never got a hold of, with, you know, cartoony colors or whatever. I think he originally came with a hammer, and this one comes with some freaky deaky thing. Then for the Brave and the Bold, which was stylized more like the 1950s and 60s comics, they went with more of a Dick Sprang kind of jokery look. And I really like it in cartoon. It looks a little weird in the action figure, but again, you know, whenever I would come across a figure like this from a cartoon series that I didn't have, I'd try to pick it up whenever I could. This one always confused me as a kid. I hadn't seen the movie or the first few episodes of Batman Beyond yet. And so it's not the Joker, even though the action figure basically says he's the Joker. He's actually the leader of the Joker gang. So, who were influenced by the original antics of the Joker. And if you watched that series, that it would eventually be built upon, and there would be the movie, you know, Return of the Joker.
So that's not the Joker.
This is not the Joker. Even though the box, the packaging promoted him as the Joker, he is the leader of the Joker gang. And then before we got Return of the Joker, they would do this figure, Cyber Joker, which is just utterly ridiculous, right? This thing is just unreal. And so it could either be this giant head that kind of had these legs, or it could be like this kind of like flying sort of... But like, I mean, I bought into it, so... But seriously, who came up with this? It's utterly ridiculous. Anyways, eventually we would get the Batman Beyond movie, the Return of the Joker. I've got a few of the Batman Beyond figures, but not any classic ones. He had this weird thermal thing on his arm that I just cut off because it was stupid and I didn't like it. Like, what is this? What is this even supposed to be? Is that necessary? Sometimes it's the stuff that they do to these figures is just stupid. Like, okay, the gauntlets are okay, but they could have been better.
Was that in a comic? That style?
No. They just
do
do stuff to sell action figures, you know? Not always for the better. I love this action figure, though. This one is from the Batman Beyond line, and I just like how the face, it's a little more armor looking, you know? It's cool, and you can take the pack off, and it's still a fun figure to play with like that as well. This was one of my favorite Batman Beyond figures as a kid, even though his color schemes kind of wonked out, and he too has a little missile action. Missiles and missiles. Eventually, when the Batman Beyond movie, Return of the Joker, would come out, they would do a line with a Joker figure in it, but it was kind of BS because all they did was just re-release this version of the Joker, which was from basically the new animated adventures, I guess. The fourth volume of the Batman animated series, and the Joker in the Return of the Joker looked nothing like this. He was like a hybrid between the look of the original animated movie or the original animated series and the New Adventures series, except his hair was totally different than that. He had just flat, slicked back hair and like a purple jumpsuit, like a really dark purple jumpsuit. So there was never an authentic Joker figure for the Return of the Joker toy line, which is lame. And they both came with even the same accessories. They have the exact same accessories. This is part of his. It has a stand and it shot a Joker card. And then this guy had the same exact one, except it was green and it shot a pink Joker card. Family Dollar would do these kind of basic figures that didn't really have any articulation. They're a little bit smaller too than the original figures, but I think that these ones overall look better than the original ones. I like the face sculpt, I like the hair sculpt, I think they're very cool. And then of course the classic, just, you know, repainting, doing a different style model. But I love the pinstripes on this one, especially. Well, we're talking about the animated Jokers. This one is in the style of the new, or excuse me, the original, maybe. Let's read him. 96. So that would have still been the original Joker figure from the animated series before they changed the animation style. But like, he doesn't really look authentic to that either. He just kind of looks weird. That's okay, because he was a Joker figure, and I like his shiny paint job. He also has a gas mask and like a fire hose thing, which is pretty cool. The Creeper, he was a character that I think was around in the 80s and kind of underutilized, and then they brought him back in the fourth season of the Batman show with the revamped animation style. He's a reporter, Jack Ryder, who fell into the same goop that the Joker fell into, except he's got like a little device that can control the transformation, and he's got like a dual personality kind of deal going on. Jack Ryder by day, Creeper by night sort of deal. McDonald's toy, little Riddler. I wish I had a little Batman of the McDonald's toys. Catwoman from that old McDonald's line. I do have a Burger King one from the Justice League series, so similar but different. I don't think there ever was even a Joker figure. I think there was only the car. Then I got a bunch of these kind of little guys. I don't really know what they're from. I think they were like these animated movies that were direct to video, and I think this was the style. Actually, I'm pretty sure, almost certain that's what it was. I think there was 3 of them, and the animation was in this style. It's kind of cool. The clunky hands, I don't know. I kind of like it. A little strange. A couple of Banes, straight up and down, Family Dollar Banes. His arms are exceptionally long. Batman, all the same sculpt, all in the different color schemes. I like the black one, obviously, because it's like movie authentic, and they do have cool detail, but I like this one because it just feels more like the comic book. Val Kilmer, this is all I have left of my Val Kilmer figure. Is a broken chest piece. He used to have arm and leg armor. His little head pops down so you can put the thing on. And there was an animated Bruce Wayne in the same style of transformation at like the same time, where you popped on the armor and made him into Batman. Transforming Robin. Doesn't have his mask anymore. I think it was like a big clunky mask too. But even so, he's like kind of cheap. He's got his little shoes, but his gloves just still look like superhero gloves, you know? I don't know. Not really a fan. And it feels like these figures all felt cheesier than the Batman ones, and it makes me wonder if they sized up Batman's to make Robin look smaller. Steel. It's got some hammer action. No cape, no hammer, but he can do that. This is one of my favorite figures as a kid. I love that color blue, and you see Batman actually using this suit in the Batman Superman movie, which was actually just 3 episodes of the Superman cartoon. But Warner Brothers decided they wanted to bring Batman back after his cartoon was canceled, and they needed to adjust the character designs to fit the Superman show, because it's all in continuity. Batman, Superman, Batman Beyond, Justice League, Static Shock are all part of the same universe, and I just always really liked this figure as a kid. It's gotten a little loose, but that means it got a lot of love. Another one in the new animated style. I liked him because he kind of reminded me of Predator. He's got like the thing on his shoulder, plus he's got this cool claw, but really he's just like a mountain climber dude. He had a cape. The cape is stupid, so I cut it off. Sometimes you just have to modify. New animated design on Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze dies in, I think it was the Sub-Zero movie, and they bring him back, but he's only a head. He's like a cyborg body, and sometimes he has to escape in his little spider body. His little head grows legs, and he also has a thing where his like chest plate like pops open, like cyborg, the cyborg body, head pop, spider turn thing. OG animated style Batman, which I like these ones more. They have a clunkier kind of another Batman. Pretty much all the same sculpts. You'd occasionally get a different hand or whatever if they needed to modify to the accessory. The paint job on this guy is really cool though. He's got all the detail on the paint job. This is a fun one. The glider. This figure is really cool. And then you got a little bit of that action too.
Nice.
So, and he's all strapped up, you know. Looks like I gave him a scar at some point, and his eyes he's a little bit worn. He got a lot of play. I like this figure a lot. You know, he definitely got a lot of play. And a lot of these were my cousins before we, you know, did our little trade. Robin from the animated series. Evidently, I just learned from, he goes by Batman, the animated fan on Instagram. He's does really cool art that's all inspired by, you know, the Batman animated series. Mostly it's in the original design, sometimes it's in the new design. And he'll do like panels from the movie done in the animated style or whatever. Original covers, and lately he's been doing these original covers based on the Kenner figures. And I still haven't seen this one yet, but he gave a little sneak preview. This is evidently a bolo. It's bolo action. And like, if you know what a bolo is, it's the thing that you throw and like wrap around people's feet. So this is evidently supposed to be some sort of like bolo device, but it always just came off as some weird helicopter or weird like blade kind of thing. And I always, that's just a lot of fun right there. That's good stuff. And he still has his cape. This is a rarity that you end up having a cape after all these years and that the stitching didn't come undone on it. I think this was the last one in the animated style. Oh, and you know what? This was originally a helicopter, but I broke it off because it only had one propeller for like the longest time. So I just snapped it off, so it's more of just like a regular flight suit thing. The figure itself and the flight suit's very cool. Helicopter part was kind of lame. You remember seeing this guy earlier? Well, this is my OG. My OG. Hoo-ah! And then you asked about different figures, and this was another one. This was like from the first look where the face was smoother, and he didn't have the razor wings. He had just a regular cape. It was before he would get in a fight with the corrosive man. The corrosive man would like melt his suit all to pieces, and he'd restructure it, and that becomes the slightly more spooky, scary of the two.
So that's
Jean-Paul Van Damme.
alright, cool.
Hoo-ah! No accessories.
You got that sweet one up on the shelf there.
Yeah, I got that sweet one on the shelf.
That's Jean-Paul?
That's Jean-Paul. Should I go get the sweet one on the shelf?
Would you?
I would. I'd be happy to. Let me go grab him.
Do it.
Oh, Bailey. That's his real last name, Jean-Paul Bailey. I'm glad that I finally remembered that, because... Yeah, this is a sweet, you know... It fell off my closet at some point, so one of, like... This hand still works, but this one got glued back on. You know, he's a little top-heavy because of the blades, you know. And sometimes the leg articulation's a little silly, but overall the sculpt's really awesome, and I really like this figure a lot. So sick. So these actually are like flamethrower, and like they shoot little like razor things at you. This thing right here is like a light that like spotlights you and blinds you, and he's got the laser targeting on his head. So he just like totally upped his game. Before he got the mantle of Batman, he was just like helping out in the Batcave, you know, and helping him like build stuff and whatnot. And then eventually he ups it. He redeems himself at some point, comes back as Azrael, Agent of the Bat, and I think they martyr him and like totally kill him off at some point. And then they revamp the Azrael title with like a different character who ended up being from that same cult. So Bat Azrael is what this kind of character gets called most of the time. Bat Azrael. I'm gonna go put him back. A couple of OG penguins from the Batman Returns movie. I don't have his jetpack thing, or it was like a yellow missile or something like that. And this guy, you know, he still got his pack but no missile. He just came as like a little 2-pack.
That's awesome.
Yeah, pretty cool. I really do love this Robin figure. It's the best probably Robin figure from any of those two movies, Batman Forever or Batman and Robin. It's just got like the nice shiny green and nice like kind of shiny red. The green's a little more metallic, but yeah, just a very cool figure. I like it a lot. I really like that figure a lot. Also, one of my favorite figures has kind of a funny story to go with it. Me and my cousin used to play at my grandmother's all the time. There was an encyclopedia bookshelf, stuck my Two-Face in there as like a hiding place. I couldn't find him, and for years he was lost. When my grandmother was moving out of her house and getting rid of her encyclopedias, she found him. I was like in high school, but I was so excited to get this Two-Face. I can't even tell you. I like the built-in gun because you don't have to worry about losing it. He also had like a bigger weird gun that was just lame. It was like a kind of a cannon that stood up. And he also has a flipping coin, which I still have over yonder. You want to flip that to me, old lobster? Ah, clean side. The movie coin. Pretty cool. And to go with Two-Face, we've got Jim Carrey the Riddler. Oh boy. Although I wish there had been a figure where he wasn't wearing the hat. The hat was like, you really didn't get a lot of that in the movie because they stylized him so much with like the orange flat top that the hat just kind of took a back seat, even though it's kind of a classic or semi-classic Riddler look. He's got this like brain thing, you know, to snatch. Oh, he catches you like that. Ah, and then he scrambles you with his little mind stuff. Another Clooney figure. He was like an Aqua figure, and that's why he's got the movable head action. And I really like the closed fist because you can just make him rumble. Plus the purple and yellow just looks sick. Not very tactical, but it makes for a great looking action figure. Ice something Batman, and I don't know what this gold Batman is. I think he had some sort of armor or something, and they were from the Returns line, Michael Keaton style. This little guy came with that big clunky Joker that we saw earlier. Then I got my Riddler straw. You remember Sounds Easy Video? No? Sounds Easy predated Movie Gallery, so Movie Gallery would buy out Sounds Easy. I got this at Sounds Easy back in the day. Check this out. My little Val Kilmer Micro. You pop the head. It never fit the Batmobile very well. It bends the thingamadoo down, and the open thing, and then you turn it. Okay, so how does that work? You open it, and then the Batmobile leaves the Batcave, and then you turn it. Oh my God, he falls down. Did you see that? Was that cool? Kind of lackluster. I'm sorry. The ladder gets knocked around by this button. Got this on a birthday cake one year. It's Batman, right? He shoots out of his little cave. Not gonna work so well for us, I don't think. It's just gonna shoot itself. Got this at a 2-pack. Me and my mom were broken down. We walked across the street to a Big Lots while we waited for help. And these guys were like on discount. The Joker also has this giant bang gun and a cane with a little jester head on it. And the Batman has all this crazy armor that goes with him as well. So these are pretty cool figures. I really like them. They're playable, but they're still kind of beefed up, you know? Yeah.
That's one of the sweetest Jokers I've seen.
Absolutely. Period. Yeah. And then I guess lastly, out of this pile, we've got this Joker. And this Joker has a platform and a hammer. It's got the articulation based more on that 1960s Dick Sprang style. It also came with like a mini print. You know, the paint job's pretty cool. I still don't think he's necessarily as cool as that one that we're just showing off, but it's also trying to capture a different effect. And then the hair has a lot of texture to it, and it's very cool. So, it is a good figure to like pose. I just haven't had him posed for a while. Now that was quite a tote of toys, huh? Now, I know that I teased you guys with a few bags. We got some minis. We got my bag of Punisher figures and my 3-inch marbles, but with everything else that we've done, I think you're just going to have to come back for another episode. So, you know, this is coming apart. Again, I think we're just going to save this for another Toy Talk. So, that's something to look forward to. 1/6 scale Joker. Anyways, we're not going to leave you on this note, okay? Because the fact of the matter is, we know you guys like trading cards, right? We got a few DC Superman trading cards. The Return of Superman trading cards from Skybox. Okay. What do we got? Grim Determination. Into the Breach. Identity revealed! Oh, it's when Cyborg gets known as Cyborg and not Superman. There we go. Unstoppable war suit. Surrounded by death. Oof. That's rough stuff. America's Guardian. That's the cyborg. Who was very cool. Big fan. Disgraced in defeat. Oof. Boy meets girl. So both Superboy and Supergirl are both clones of Superman. Supergirl, for some reason, has shape-shifting abilities. Simultaneous attack. Oof. Hunter of the Night. Look out. Hero versus hero. Alright, I just read this on the back. No guaranteed number of bonus cards per box. Odds in finding limited edition foil enhanced bonus cards are approximately 1 in 36 packs. So basically we have pretty low odds of finding a foil card in 5 packs, I guess. But
that's crazy. We
could get the luck of the draw. Another John Henry card. I really like John Henry. He's actually my favorite of all the kind of Superman side characters. He's just a regular dude in a suit of armor who regrets having worked on these weapons that ended up getting into the streets and murdering his homies. Crisis awaits. Big John. We've got Guy Gardner. I don't think he was a Green Lantern at this time. I think he was just Warrior, so he had like a yellow ring that gave him a suit for some reason. Righteous Rage. Eradicator versus John Henry. Supergirl! Exclamation point. Ambushed. Also with an exclamation point. Looks like all of these have exclamation points. Shocking Discovery. Battleground Metropolis. I think we only have one more card pack to open. Feel okay. Quite a lot of stuff to go through. I mean, and it was all stuff I was unprepared for, because it was just let's open and see what happens. A lot of the times when we do the show, it's like new stuff. I kind of have an idea of how we're going to go about the episode. This is basically improv, like totally improv. Supergirl, that's our first double. Ambushed, another double. Shocking Discovery, third double.
Another double.
Battleground Metropolis, fourth double. Superman is back. Boom, first one. It's a headline, and it shows, oh wow, it's totally got Bill Clinton on this card.
No way.
Oh, absolutely has Bill Clinton on there.
The Superman's back. He's here to save Metropolis.
A city annihilated? Seems like something that would happen in Dragon Ball Z. Just destroying everything around. But it makes sense if it's just a bunch of Supermen fighting one another. Same equivalent. Tracking the Truth. I'd say that's a Lois Lane card if I had to put money on it. Armored Protector. Jeez, boys and girls, this has been another episode of Toy Talk. We really appreciate you coming back time and time again to hang out and talk about toys and trading cards and stuff. As always, we would love it if you would like, share, comment. Isn't there a fourth one?
Subscribe.
Subscribe. Get notifications. Don't you want to know when we have a new episode up? Don't you want to join us for all the fun we have on Toy Talk? Man, we love having you guys. So come again. All right. Bye. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye. I'll see you next time. Bye. Let's pop the top off this bad Jackson and see what's up. I like that Superman had long hair in the 90s. Just a fan. fucking just freaking.
Who's your daddy?
What does it do? Exactly.
It's bigger and hardy, but it's too rounded.
So listen,
I like detail.
detail,
Yeah.
not smooth details either.
No.
Keep it edgy, man. Rough. Rough. What about this one? What about this one?
Ooh, dude. Yeah, I used to have that, so that's